What up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. It's Matty B, and as always, thank you all for tuning in. I really appreciate it, and I'm thankful for all you guys tuning in, even when it's been a little bit of a janky setup. You guys used to listen to me whenever I would raw dog it with no mic. This mic that I invested in hasn't been working very good. Sometimes it sends me to the static national, so I'm about to invest in a little bit of a better one for y'all. But enough about that. Denver Supercross tonight was epic. We had Deegan versus Davies contact in practice and in the race, so maybe some new beef there. We got a new 250 West Supercross champion in Hayden Deegan in dramatic fashion, and there was even more contact in the contract with Chase Sexton and Cooper Webb, with a dominant ride from Sexton and then an insane battle for 2, 3, 4, and much more. But I got to give a huge thank you and a shout out to the people who are helping keep this channel going.
Thank you to quickmoto.com. If you're in need of some graphics, backgrounds, canopies, and much more, use my code on screen for 20% off. Also, Sirius Studio, I'm now a partner in the company, so anything you buy on their website using my code MB820, a small slice of that goes to me to help keep the channel going. And last but not least, my boy AJ is doing a Tesla Model 3 giveaway. I have all the info in my video description on how to enter, and make sure to check him out on X, Instagram, and YouTube at AJ Writes Crypto.
First off, some thoughts on the track. They're not all going to be awesome tracks. I really think in 2025 they've been a lot better than they have been in the last few years, but I really did not enjoy this one. I don't think this one was much to write home about, but it's not great dirt. I thought it was going to be drier than a popcorn fart and slicker than Trump's comb over, but come heat race time, it was actually another level above that. It was actually slicker than P. Diddy's bedroom floor. But it was just kind of tight, not really tons of long lanes where people could get up next to each other and set up for a pass in the following corner. So you don't want every layout to be the same. So at least it was something different. But I just don't think this one lent itself to the best racing. But it's Supercross, it's the best guys in the world, and they make it happen anyway, like they did tonight. Now we'll get into the results. We'll start with the 250 class with the win and the championship in the last two laps. Hayden Deegan. And I got to ask, what do you guys think between him and Davies? Were either of those moves dirty in practice or in the main event? Really, in my opinion, in practice, I feel like that one was actually more on Cole because, Hayden had the line and Cole just tried to thread a needle through a gap that wasn't really there around that outside for not really much reason. And I feel like that's kind of maybe something you do when you're 17 years old, when you're a rookie and you're learning. But I don't think there was much of that. And then even in the main event, I'm just mind boggled that they were saying that that was under review because I feel like that was as fair of a pass as they come. I mean, it's for a championship, it's for the win, it's for the bragging rights, it's for the money. I mean, I had to check my Peacock and make sure it wasn't softball or soccer or tennis or something on TV. And there was only a lap and a half to go. It's not like he hit him wide open and teed him up. So I thought that was super fair game. Of course, he got the boos and told the fans to suck it. That's super on brand for Deegan. And really, I think he loves it. I don't think he cares whether the fans cheer for him or not. I think he thrives on being polarizing. No choice. But that really was an awesome ride. Picked his way through the field, was digging to the end. We all know that he's good in the fitness department and at the end of those races. And he made it happen. What more can you say? Got the championship wrapped up, pissed some people off, and now he'll probably be back next year with a number one plate. And what do you guys think this leads to in terms of Deegan and Davies and them being teammates? It's been pretty clear that they've been friends pretty much all season. They seem to be pretty tight at the goat farm, even on track walk and all that. But they've quickly become rivals. They both want to be the top dog. And they had two incidents just today, so I don't know if maybe this is some beef starting or what. I wouldn't really read much into the practice incident, but Deegan did look over at Cole like 7 times in the first 3 straightaways. So maybe it's just little mind games. Maybe they'll be cool. I don't know. But either way, it's going to be a very fun dynamic to watch from the outside. In the second spot, two Jews, Julian Beaumer. I feel like this is kind of the one that got away from him because he was really good in practice all day. Fastest qualifier in both sessions. I feel like this was a really good setup for him. Being that it was so hard packed, he's a Havasu West Coast guy, so I figured it would be perfect for him. But with the track being so tight and not great for passing, it was the wrong night to have bad starts in both the heat race and the main. He kind of tanked both of those starts, so I think he did all he could from the position where he started in, but I feel like that one might have kind of slipped through Juju's fingers there. And then rounding out the podium in third, Garrett Marchbanks, and along with two Jews, Beaumer. When I was out in California the other week, I saw both of those guys pounding out a lot of outdoor motos, and they even said that Marchbanks said it helped him when he went back to Supercross. Sometimes that breath of fresh air is all you need to kind of get that pep back in your step again, but I'm really glad to see Marchbanks finally turn around mid to late season and get some results because this dude is so fast, has so much talent, and I feel like he's really only unleashed it a handful of times. I think still the best of Garrett Marchbanks is yet to be seen. A quiet fourth for Jordan Smith, although he did have the heat race auger where the airbag went off. And it's cool to see evolving technology. It's been a rough few weeks in the moto community, and a lot of people have been getting hurt, so any advancement in safety, I'm stoked to see it. And rumor has it, Jordan Smith might actually be tackling the 450 class for Triumph next year. So this next round in Salt Lake City may be his final hurrah on the small bores. And then in fifth, kind of already talked about him, Cole Davies, but kind of a heartbreak. He had it from start to finish. Well, not quite finish, but close to finish. And I'm really surprised that he kind of still went in hard into the corner when Deegan clearly had the line. Kind of like how I said earlier, I feel like this is just something a 17-year-old kid that's a rookie and that's learning might do. Just a bump in the road in the process of becoming a great. Because, he could have checked up and then, ran it back in on him in the next corner, or at least lived to fight another day. But instead, went all the way back to fifth, effectively lost the championship right then and there. But either way, such an insane season from Cole Davies, one that I don't really think any of us expected, maybe not even him. I really just can't say enough how impressed I've been by him all season. Quiet sixth for Cody Schock, seventh for Moseman. He was actually having a really good afternoon and evening, but he had an untimely crash in the main event. Stop me if you've heard it before, but still, awesome to see him back in good form. It's been a while since we've seen Moseman back towards the top step, so he's coming back around. Eighth for Drew Adams, kind of a bold strategy to see him out in Supercross. I kind of thought he would just wait and hit the opener of Pro Motocross, but I guess Mitch needs two bikes on the track, so they put him out there. No choice. Ninth for Joe Shimoda. Really a bummer how his season's turned ever since he got whacked by the pit board. He came out so hot, which has kind of been the stigma about him, is that he's slow to start the series. And right as he takes care of that, then the rest of the series has kind of been an issue for him. So he's definitely had a very up and down season, and reports are that he's supposedly out at HRC Honda next year. I've heard some rumblings of Husqvarna, so stay tuned to all that. And then a top 10 for the Brazilian, Vamos Enzo. Good to see him back here in the States as well. And then last guy to talk about in the 250 class in 15th. Glad to see him back at the races. Robbie Wageman coming off of a gnarly wrist, maybe hand injury that he suffered while doing arena cross this winter. Long road to getting back on the bike. Saw him at the two-stroke national at Glen Helen a few weeks ago, and he looked like he was actually at the arm pump national. But he rebounded, put it right in the main, a 15th. I'm sure he's not stoked on it, but it's hard to jump right back into these series after you've been hurt. So commendable effort there. And actually, last topic about the 250 class. Oh my gosh, I feel like all the lappers are colorblind. Blue flags everywhere. Nobody was moving. May or may not have cost Cole Davies the win, but that is kind of part of racing. But I feel really qualified to bag on the lappers for being crappy because I've been lapped more times than I can count, and I feel like I'm a very good lapper. I've actually been told that very thing. So, I get it. If you're racing for position, it's tough, but man, that looked like the 91 freeway or Portland out there. You take your pick. I wouldn't have wanted a part of either of them. Now we'll jump to the 450 class with the win, Chase Sexton, and I'm a little bit bummed on his strategy, to be honest. I feel like if he was going to go for the hit on Coop, I feel like he really needed to make it count. I feel like all that really did is just pissed him off. And really, I thought there was a chance we might see some Tomac action, like bunching up the field like he did in Vegas 2017, but kind of just gave him a little bump and run and took off. And you can't just leave Cooper Webb to do his lap circulating in second place. He's not the guy that's going to just crack and make a random mistake. But either way, dominant ride for Sexton, and I just cannot believe all this talk of him going to Kawasaki. Apparently, the deal is done, and he just looks so damn good on the KTM. I cannot believe he would want to leave there. But he does seem to think that the grass is going to be greener, kind of like how he was when he was at Honda and moved to KTM. So that'll be interesting, but man, he looks good right now. Second, Cooper Webb, smart ride to avoid the T-Bone National and just bring it home for a safe second. He had some pressure, but I think he knew what he was doing. He's been here before, not his first rodeo, and he's got himself a decent little 9 point gap headed into this finale. So I think he's got everyone right where he wants them. And how about the little mind games in the heat race with Coop flinching on the gate right next to Sexton? At this point, it kind of is just funny because he doesn't even really need to do it. I think he just likes poking the bear when it comes to Chase and his rivals. So that's always entertaining to watch. Then in third, what a ride for Jcoop, man. I couldn't believe it. I thought he was going to pass Cooper Webb there for a minute. And I swear, if that would have happened, I think they would have had him sleeping in a cage at the Star Farm, eating ramen out of a hubcap all week, because that would not have been ideal for the point situation, taking 2 more points from Cooper Webb. And it almost happened. I thought for a minute there he was just trying to protect Coop from Malcolm, but nah, he was trying to protect himself from missing out on the second place podium bonus. But either way, great ride for Jcoop, and I got a sneaking suspicion this guy's taking the win in Salt Lake City next weekend. You heard it here first, or maybe you didn't, but you heard it here. Fourth for Malcolm. I'm a little bit surprised that he ended up fourth after getting a whole shot. Whole shots are usually not in his contract, but still a great ride right there with that 2, 3, 4 pack. Sexton was just out of reach. He was on another level all day, all afternoon, and all night. And it's been a great season for Malcolm. I really didn't expect much from him coming into this season because last year was a bit of a lackluster year for him, but Definitely a revelation. He's been awesome this year. Quiet fifth for AP. I did not have it on my bingo card that he was going to be battling with Shane McElrath, who comes home sixth. And what a ride for Shane, man. He's got the YouTube pumping. He's got results coming. He's been getting better and better. And yeah, it's awesome to see. Shane's always been a really good dude. And people forget how good he was in the 250 class. You know, he took Chase Sexton down to the wire for a championship. He's won supercrosses. He's won outdoors in the 250 class. The poor dude's just bounced around from 6 or 9 teams in the last couple of years, and it's hard to get comfy when you're always switching it up, but he's finally found his mojo, and yeah, great job, Shane. Les Silons, 7th for Dylan Ferrandis, an 8th for Savachi out of the LCQ, and a 9th for Mitchell Oldenburg. Him and Benny Bloss are really making those betas look good this year. And hell, Oldenburg ran up front and second in the heat race on it. That's probably more TV time for beta tonight than they've gotten in the rest of their existence. Grandpa Earl rounds out the top 10, riding at the fill-in national for HRC Honda. Love to see it, fan favorite. And then I want to touch on a couple guys trying to work their way back from injury. 11th for Christian Craig and a 14th for Colt Nichols. And I just cannot possibly overstate how hard it must be to jump right into the series when these guys have been in their groove since January. They've been healthy and they've been building, and you're just trying to build from race to race. And you know, obviously, you're not going to be in peak form right when you come back. So that makes the confidence take a hit as well. And it's just a gnarly downward spiral that it's really easy to get caught up in and it's really hard to get yourself out of. 15th for Fast Freddie Noren. How about his crash in qualifying over the finish line? I'm going to put up the clip of it right now. It was insane, so I'm glad that he got out of it unscathed, made the main, and a solid ride nonetheless. 16th for Kyle Chisholm. Just wanted to give him a shout out for what he did for Jerry Robin in the Privateer Pulpamex Challenge on Friday. Chiz took Jerry Robin's spot in the race, and he gave 100% of his winnings to Jerry Robin to support him on his road to recovery. So massive hats off to you, Chiz. Really appreciate you doing that. And then continuing on about the Pulpamex Privateer Challenge, 17th place in the main event, Kevin Moran's. Probably didn't even care about this 17th place because he made more money on Friday than he would have in probably 6 or 7 rounds in Supercross because he got the win. I think he made around $25,000, so a hell of a payday. And you already know these privateers are racking up that credit card tab. They got bills to pay, so pretty cool to see these guys get the opportunity to make some extra cash on a windy Friday afternoon in Denver. And finally, 22nd place in the main event with 0 points, which is an absolute travesty. I'll never understand that. But this dude is such a good rider. I swear he's got some Carson Brown in him because he can rip anything. He rips the hills, e-bikes, Surons, you name it. He's fast on it, so shout out to Michael Hicks for making the main. But that's a wrap for this week, and as always, let me know in the comments what you think about my takes, if you agree, if you disagree, if I'm cooked, if you want to throw hate, you name it, it ends up in my comment section, and I'll check it out. So I appreciate y'all tuning in. Thanks for watching. Catch y'all next time.